Pike Place Market, Shattering Seattle's Social and Economic Barriers.
The market is yours. I dedicate it to you, and may it prove of benefit to you and your children. It is for you to protect, defend, and uphold. This is one of the greatest days in the history of Seattle.
As a solution to Seattle's rising grocery prices caused by an increase in population, Thomas P. Revelle, the president of the Seattle Council in 1907, proposed creating a public farmers market. Revelle's idea to provide Seattle consumers fresh produce without price gouging sellers broke the barriers between consumers and farmers. As Pike Place developed, it also broke social barriers by establishing a positive relationship between consumers and vendors, and by implementing a cultural hotspot in one of Seattle's central complexes. In the late 1880s, a city fire in Seattle caused widespread destruction, burning through most of Seattle's wooden buildings and forcing Seattleites to rebuild their city. Seattle utilized this opportunity to improve its infrastructure and design. The improved infrastructure broke transportation and growth barriers, allowing Seattle to develop economically. In 1896, gold was discovered in Alaska, beginning the Yukon Gold Rush. Seattle's ferry access to Alaska attracted many hopeful miners eager to obtain gold. The large influx of visitors benefited Seattle's merchants and seafarers, which further strengthened the economy. Washington's fertile land and growing job opportunities helped Seattle produce good crops and attract immigrants, especially the Japanese. Japan's governmental instability stemming from corruption, social hardships in the mid-19th century, and its proximity to Washington encouraged the Japanese to immigrate to Seattle. The Japanese immigration, the Yukon Gold Rush, job opportunities, and the reconstruction of Seattle all helped to double the population from around 40,000 to 80,000. This was a dramatic increase, especially in such a short period of time. The doubling in population escalated the demand for produce and goods from nearby farms. Seattle faced new economic barriers, including the difficulty of maintaining adequate prices for groceries. The economy approaching the 20th century was heavily impacted by people's actions. A prominent player of the economy were the middlemen, who were the businessmen linking the farmers with the consumers. In this system, the farmers sold their produce to the middlemen, who sold that produce at a higher price to citizens. The middlemen sold their produce in the Commission District, located in the area between Railroad and Western Avenues. The Commission District maintained sheds full of produce that were sold to dealers, and then these dealers resold the produce to more remote neighborhoods of Seattle. This caused the produce to be in poor condition and expensive. From 1906 to 1907, grocery prices rose 4.2%. This created financial barriers for consumers who were having difficulty finding affordable groceries. The middlemen ended up pocketing most of the profit from the farmers' crops, leaving farmers with only a small percentage of their hard-earned money. This created economic barriers for the farmers. The city council members eventually responded to public outcry over the unreasonably high cost of food. They knew they would have to act or face a starving Seattle. The city council agreed to address the problem and proceeded to construct a viable and inexpensive solution. Councilman Revelle built upon and took advantage of a previously passed ordinance in 1896, which allocated land for public markets. He gathered the help of the Seattle Times, who wrote persuasive articles supporting Revelle's idea, and he convinced the council to authorize the market. The public market he proposed was a place where farmers could bring their produce in carts to sell directly to the consumers. Revelle's concept broke economic barriers by combating the financial abuse of the middlemen. Eventually, with the proposal approved, they passed Ordinance No. 16636, establishing a public farmers market on the west side of Pike Place, which will be called Pike Place Market. The council also passed Ordinance 17187, which clarified the specific logistics in running the market so that the market wouldn't have any organizational struggles. The proposal declared that it shall be unlawful for any person to sell or offer for sale in any marketplace established and designated by ordinance any article or thing, except fresh fruits, vegetables, berries, and other farm or garden products, produced or manufactured by the person selling or offering the same for sale. On August 17, 1907, a few farmers' carts gathered in downtown Seattle. It was a small collection of produce on a newly built plank roadway fronting the Leland Hotel. Even with the middlemen trying to hinder the success of the market by buying produce beforehand, the market was overrun by consumers eager to purchase the fresh, low-priced produce. The farmers instantly ran out of stock, showing the success of Revell's idea and marking the beginning of Pike Place's commitment to break Seattle's economic and social barriers. Pike Place Market gave the opportunity for many new, smaller businesses that would have struggled otherwise. The construction for more vital businesses like the Outlook Hotel, Triangle Market, the Sanitary Public Market, and the Corner Market finally made Pike Place self-sufficient. By 1909, the market averaged 300,000 visitors per month. The new jobs resulting from the market's growth provided opportunities for immigrants, which increased the diversity of the area. Throughout its development, the market continued to give jobs to immigrants moving to Seattle that were struggling to make a living. In the beginning, the market's workers were mostly Japanese, but between the 1920s and 1930s, the market's population broke more barriers as they branched out to include even more immigrant farmers, artists, and eccentrics from other parts of Asia and Europe.
I would say there is still an abundance of immigrant shop and stall owners as well. People from all over the world are selling their work in restaurants, and you can find food from everywhere here. And I don't think it's disappeared. I think that it's a very diverse economy in the market, which is what people love about coming here. There's a Polish pottery place, or like this very unique, like niche market of things that you can buy, and meet the owners, which is amazing.
The market was a place where people lived and shopped. It was a place where a great many folks grew up or came of age. And so I think the preservation of the Pike Market was a truly celebratory event, not only just for that particular community, but certainly for the city as a whole.
The market promoted a sense of community between citizens and farmers, shown specifically when the market was under threat by the Pike Plaza project. Both groups united to vote against the demolition of the market in 1969, showing the strength of the bond between the Seattleites and stall owners. John Turnbull, the director of asset management at Pike Place, pointed out that
the market's focus on supporting local independent businesses and one-to-one relationships is unique enough to create both a community sense of identity, Seattle's soul, and an attraction for tourists and visitors.
The market is amazing, and I feel like they are breaking barriers as far as just how a business is run in Seattle. And the market is run by this Preservation Historic Society. And so basically, to get into the market, you have to prove that you are the owner and you are either making or going to be involved with your business. And so that kind of goes back to like the meet the producer motto of the market, that you can walk in and meet the owner of the shop and maybe see what they're making or creating. Or if it's a restaurant, you get to meet the owners and talk to them. So it's a very kind of connected way of doing business, which is unique, I think.
today, the market serves as one of Seattle's oldest and most historically authentic marketplaces, where people can buy fresh, cheap produce and other handcrafted goods made by local producers whom you can meet. This makes it one of Seattle's most popular tourist attractions. Pike Place Market broke and continues to break Seattle's economic and social barriers in a way that no other landmark can, connecting the farmers and consumers of Puget Sound, in which without Pike Place would never have happened. Pike Place was also a gathering site that attracted a flood of immigrants in Seattle, greatly impacting its cultural atmosphere. The ability to bring farmers and consumers together boosted the failing economy of Seattle at the turn of the 20th century through tourism, fresh produce, and reasonable prices. The market continues to grow and serve the community today. Pike Place Public Market's greatest influence was building, supporting, and helping Seattle rise as one of the most influential cities in the Pacific Northwest.